Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey. The 2023 NFL Draft is in the books, and that means it's time to break down the undrafted free agency signings for the Vikings. Some very big names. We'll break them all down here for you. And you got to subscribe. This is what we do, right? News happens, rumors, draft, free agency games. We have you covered with everything on the Minnesota Vikings. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications turned on for more free Vikings videos. We'll go one time through all the different undrafted free agents, then we'll spend some time on who they are individually. Andre Carter, the edge out of Army. Ivan Pace, two of my best available UDFAs, both arrive in Minnesota. Cephus Johnson, wide receiver. I'll explain what I mean by that little note in a little bit. Malik Knowles out of Kansas State. Thayer Thomas from NC State. Ben Sims, tight end Baylor. Alan Ali out of TCU. Jacky Chen, OT out of Pace. Bonus points if you know where Pace is at as a school. Calvin Avery, the defensive lineman out of Illinois. Abraham, I believe it's pronounced Beauplan, out of Marshall. Wilson Huber, another Cincinnati linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings this year. NaJee Thompson, quarterback out of Georgia Southern. More corners, by the way. CJ Coldon. Jaylin Williams, Oklahoma, Indiana, respectively, and a kicker for Minnesota, Jack Podlesny. And I like kickers as UDFAs, a lot more than fourth or top 100 picks. Thanks, Niners. We will go in-depth on these guys. In general, I like this class a lot for Minnesota. Some really big-time players that they've added. We'll break them all down here. But grade the Vikings undrafted free agency class A, B, C, D, or F in the comments. Check just a pinned comment on today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and grade it. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's begin with not my personal number one. I'll break down all my grades and rankings here in a little bit. But the player that I think is the most well-known name, Andre Carter II, the edge rusher out of Army. Fantastic elite size here. 6'6.5", 256, 33 and 3/8-inch arms. Why did he go undrafted? Right, I had a 4th, 5th round grade on him. Why did he go undrafted? Was not as good this year. From 17 TFLs to 14.5 sacks in 2021 to 7.5 TFLs and 3.5 sacks. He needs time. He lacks power. Obviously, Army, you're in good shape, but the training you do for the Army is very different than what you do in the NFL. He lacks power. You can't do the normal, NFL building stuff because you have cadet stuff to do as an Army football player. It showed up in athletic testing. He doesn't have great power. Showed up on film. He gets washed out by tight ends. 4'9", 140 was not very good, but he has good length. He's very bendy. The pass rush upside is absolutely there. Give him probably a year, if not 2 years, and you could have a nice little player on your hands. And would have been a cool story for him to get drafted. It's a great pickup by the Minnesota Vikings, though. Andre Carter was 156 on my board. Ivan Pace Jr., this was my best available undrafted free agent, and the Vikings got him. I think he's going to make this team, and I think he's going to be a really good football player in the NFL. Why did he go undrafted? Top 100 grade on him. Tom, what are you doing? Well, for starters, the guy with 136 tackles, 20.5 TFLs, 9 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, I think should have been drafted. Now, the issue is he's kind of a tweener. He's at his best as a blitzer, which doesn't translate at 5'10", 231, kind of an undersized pass rush inside linebacker. He is very small. He is not an elite athlete, especially at his size, but he went from Miami of Ohio, had great success there, great results, takes on better competition, and was even better at Cincinnati playing alongside his brother. That's why I picked them over schools like I think Clemson and Georgia had thrown interest in his way. He is the first Cincinnati player in history to earn unanimous All-American honors. Why Sauce Gardner didn't get that is because college football writers do not know ball, but that's beside the point. If he was built averagely and was like he was 231 at the combine, but 222 at his pro day when he actually tested, so a bit deceptive on that front. But if he is built like, not even Drew Sanders, Trenton Simpson was, I think he'd be drafted in a very similar range for me. I adore that pickup, I should say, by the Vikings. Cephus Johnson, we have him as a wide receiver. He played quarterback at Southeastern Louisiana. He ran for 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. He did not crack my top 300 rankings, but he was my number 49 receiver. I have him as a UDFA. He's a really good athlete. He needs time. He's got to make a total position switch here. Began his career at South Alabama, by the way. 3 career college catches, mostly on trick plays, but that does make it fun to throw him out there. He has the athletic traits. That's a worthwhile gamble. He's a little bit older. It's a big reason why he didn't get drafted. But that's a fun pickup to make if you're the Vikings. And check in a year or two. Put him on your practice squad and see how things are going from that perspective. Another receiver is Kansas State's Malik Knowles. 6'2", 196. He's an outside wide receiver. I think he's got return value. And with the way the running back room is shaped up and Kenny Nwangu being your main guy there, maybe it's a backup insurance on that front. He had 3 career touchdowns, averaged 27.7 yards per return. No punt return value. He's kind of more of a return man than he is anything else. So that's why I gave him the UDFA grade, because the league does not value return men as much. I will say he did have PCL surgery in February 2020, which could be a medical red flag for him as well. Thayer Thomas, I'm convinced, was in college for like 5 years, but he is still out there. Wide receiver from NC State. I did about 340-something prospect profiles, scouting reports, notes, research, athletic testing. Unfortunately, Thayer Thomas did not crack that list. I believe he was like the 7th player on or 10th player on my get to him if time list that I always put a list together. And every year I do not get to them. I did the exact same thing with Ben Sims. He was the 6th tight end on my list out of Baylor, and I did not get to him either. So my humblest apologies for not getting that. Good size, though, right? 6'4", 5/8 inches, 250 pounds, out of San Antonio, Texas. There's plenty of those kind of late-round picks, I think, or not late-round picks, but UDFAs at tight end. There's a pretty good trend of those guys being able to make a bit of a splash and have some success in the collegiate level. 255 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did miss 1 game because of a head injury. 4.58 40 is pretty solid, though. Now, the Vikings rookie jersey for Jordan Addison is, I'll call it pre-order. Obviously, it's just a placeholder jersey number until that's officially announced by the NFL. But you can order yours today for Jordan Addison. Chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. That link will be in the comment section and in the description of today's show. Allen Ali at a TCU, who began his career at SMU, spent 5 years there, made the switch over to TCU for 1 year following head coach Sonny Dykes there. UDFA grade, center guard hybrid for me. He checked in just outside my top 300, I believe. Yes, he's one of the first non-center guard that I had outside my top 300. Position flex is going to get him a look. Starts at every single spot on the offensive line at TCU. 42 at center, 7 at left guard, 2 at right guard, 2 at left tackle, 1 at right tackle. 4,000 career snaps at the collegiate level. But he is, not the best athlete, not the best power. It's not a great combo, but that position flex is certainly valuable. Jacky Chen is next up here as he played at Pace University, 6'5", 299, 4'5", 140. It's not the best. I'll let you guys in on a secret. I have no Pace University film. I don't even know if they have all 22 up there in New York. So I gave away the right answer. I didn't mean to do that from what I asked earlier. Well, now you guys know where it's from. So I don't have anything for you guys on Jacky Chen. My apologies. Vikings did their advanced scouting there, man. Now, we have already published our NFL draft grades for the Minnesota Vikings. Every single pick is broken down. If you have not already checked that out, now is the time to go make that happen. The link will be in the comment section and in the description as well. YouTube.com/Vikings today. But you probably know what the picks were, right? Overall, what's your one-word reaction to this year's NFL draft for the Minnesota Vikings? Jeremy Meyer goes Super Bowl. Well, that's 2 words. So learn math. Can't cheat and make it 1 word. Sound off. 1-word reaction to the Vikings draft this year. Defensive lineman Calvin Avery is next up here. This is a run-stopping nose guard all the way through. 6'1.5", 345 pounds. I had a UDF grade on him. Like most big men, he did not test very well. He actually hasn't played that much. 3.5 TFLs and a half sack over the past 2 years. He's a good tackler, though. Doesn't miss very many of those. Did up his game in a pretty significant way this past year. Abraham, I believe it's pronounced Abraham Beauplan. That's wrong. My almost apologies there. Nice try, Jeremy. Another undersized off-ball linebacker for Marshall, 5'11", but thicker than Ivan Pace, 241. Did not test, so when it's guys I'm not too familiar with and there's a lack of testing, I just don't get to those guys too much there in the end. Wilson Huber in the exact same boat, 6'4", 241. I got the athletic notes up here for you guys. 4.7 40, good 3-cone, sub 7, 6.91. That's better than some of the linebackers this year. Maybe he and Ivan Pace will get to share the dorms and everything and make their lives a little bit easier as they do the rookie mini camp and training camp and everything there. NaJee Thompson, this is 82nd on Dane's cornerback big board, so we're deep in the weeds here, folks. 5'10 and 3/8, 200 pounds, 4.57 40. Didn't test very well, 7.4 3-cone. At that size, I would say probably going to be a nickel, but 32 3/4 inch arms. I think the arm length is something that Brian Flores is certainly intrigued by in that likely heavy press man scheme. CJ Coldon out of Oklahoma. If only Sam, our Sooner superfan, was here. 5'10", 186, 31 1/8 inch arms. By the way, on Dane Brugler's The Beast Guide, he was cornerback number 56 from that perspective. And then there's Jaylin Williams, who seems to be a very common name all of a sudden in sports. He was listed as let me double check this here. Cornerback 52nd overall on Dane's big board. 5'9", 3/4. That's at corners, 184. I like these traits here, though. 4.4 340. That's really good. The 10-yard split was fine. 3-cone was right about at 7 seconds. Under 30-inch arms, this is a potential nickel corner for the Minnesota Vikings. And Minnesota actually got my number 3 kicker. I do kicker rankings. I am bullied into it each and every single year. Georgia's kicker missed 3 kicks inside of 50 this year. He was 1 of 5 on 3. He was 84% overall. Has missed 1 extra point each of the last 2 years. He also missed 2 attempts in the CFP, which did not go very well. I didn't even write down the measurables, so I got him though. I can find him, Jeremy. We got him. There we go. Just under 6'1", 1 of 5. Measurables don't matter for a kicker, Jeremy. Like, I don't care if you're short, skinny, fat, whatever. Like, that's why they're not people, because they're not football players. No one cares how big they are or not. He did have 2 pretty big misses against Ohio State, which makes me worried a little bit about the headspace there that matters so much. There's some competition this year, though, at kicker. Who is your favorite undrafted free agent for the Minnesota Vikings? Sound off in the comment section. I'll give you some love down there as well.